Hi everyone, and welcome to the Season 3 Mythic Plus Deep Dive for Holy Priests. I'm Q, and I'm here to tell you everything you need to know to push higher content in BFA. Before we go on, I would like to remind you that all necessary links can be found in the description. If you'd like to be a part of the community, join the Discord link to access our very own Holy Priest channel. Feel free to drop into my Twitch stream sometime for some live action. The time zone's Central European time. So, how does a Holy Priest fare in the Beguiling season? For starters, it's just as viable as last season. Climbing the ladder will be no problem once you master your abilities and strengths and learn to play around the weaknesses. Here is an overview of the Affix rotation. Some of the affixes that were together in Season 2 have changed, but that doesn't necessarily require a whole new build for the Holy Priest every week. The major difference in gameplay will be how your group decides to play percentage and go about the route. Some difficult packs are now unavoidable thanks to the Void Emissary that has stealth detection, and a lot of trash have an overall difficulty increase when dealing with the Tides Emissary, making all the trash around it immune to CC. Utility like knockbacks, engineering belts, and Ring of Peace can be helpful for a pack where you need to interrupt quickly. For a Holy Priest, this requires us to be more mindful of where we may need our highest healing output for our CDs. Always throw an extra glance at the tank health when you dive into one of these pools. The talent setup is roughly the same as it's always been. Trail of Light remains dominant, with the exception of some affixes. For the second row, comfort rules. Some dungeons require more movement, while others might just require you to stay safe at all times, in which Angel's Mercy and Perseverance are both nice choices to go for. Guardian Angel on the third row serves an amazing purpose for that extra single target healing, as well as an external for possibly fatal hits. The fourth row will provide you with an extra single target push through Surge of Light, being an instant mana-free flash heal. Circle of Healing helps for that extra AoE push, which in some weeks can prove to be super helpful. Now, to find out what works best for you, you will have to try both talents and see where you need that extra push. Is it AoE or single target? Surge of Light works very well together with Trail of Light, and Circle of Healing can be more efficient together with Enlightenment, to sort of make up for the extra mana you're using. If you however feel like your mana usage is stable, always go for Trail of Light. Shining Force is the way to go during all weeks. You might want to check in with your group to find out what will help the overall utility. Go for Divine Star on the next row to provide some extra damage. And for the final row, we have Apotheosis, which is still the most solid talent for burst healing. Don't be afraid to use the strong buff, as it will be back only after 2 minutes. In Season 2, the consistency of your healing mattered in a different way. Now, you could say it only applies to boss fights. The trash is heavier than it was last season, as you didn't need to deal with an emissary. The Tides Emissary will let every mob cast go through until it's gone, which means harder hits. And the Enchanted Emissary, unless dealt with and pushed away, will increase the damage done to the tank, as long as the enemies are in her aura. This calls the need for faster casts and bursts. Through our haste, we can safely help deal with the Enchanted Emissary in the beginning of a pull and make sure the tank never runs too low. Holy Nova, Holy Fire, Chastise, and Shining Force are excellent abilities to push an Enchanted away. The Critical Strike in this equation gives us that extra push when we delve into trash fights. The inconsistency of enemy damage in Emissary packs makes us rely more on faster and higher burst. Mastery still serves a purpose when it comes to overall healing and healing over time effects for a priority target swap. However, Mastery cannot alone satisfy the current need in keys. This is why we focus less on Mastery. Versatility can and will help prevent squishiness, and is worth stacking without losing out on too many other stats. If you can't seem to fit in much versatility, it can also be helpful to go for the Perseverance talent, as there's a solid 10% damage reduction on yourself as long as you keep Renew ticking. Remembering to have Renew on yourself at all times can be hard, especially during stressful times. Just remember to at least use it as a defensive, and pop Renew on yourself in before a hit. Keep practicing and getting used to the talent, and you will have little to no trouble sustaining Renew during fights. Here's an overview of the best and more preferred Azerite traits. We want to put heavy priority on our most used healing throughput, as well as anything that buffs your secondary stats. Having those passive buffs will significantly increase comfort in keys. One major Azerite you want to keep in mind is Permeating Glow. As our single target healing has never been of the best kind, having 3 stacks of Permeating Glow will help. Promise of Deliverance is also a single target healing increase, as well as a cooldown reduction to Holy Word Serenity. The reduction itself cannot stack, however, the healing can and will stack. Blessed Portents is what it says it is, blessed. When the buff is up and targets drop below 50% health, they will heal automatically for an amount. Prayerful Litany will buff your prayer of healing on the target that has the least health. Since this is a very much used spell for Mythic Plus, it's worth stacking this trait, especially if you're stuck choosing between 2. Word of Mending buffs your prayer of mending and increases the cooldown on Holy Word Sanctify. Again, the cooldown reduction itself doesn't stack, but the healing does. Some people may argue that prayer of mending is useless in keys, but it really isn't. Remember, a Holy Priest's passive healing is significant, especially should you look at logs. Even if you can't pop mending during a pull, precasting before pulls serves a purpose too for that initial healing. These are the main overall healing traits you want to look at. As for the rest, anything that buffs mainly your haste will aid you tons. For self-sustain, you want to look into Resounding Protection. This is a buff that refreshes every 30 seconds and gives you a shield. Other good self-sustain traits are Sanctum, Impassive Visage, and Bulwark of the Masses. Essences are a fun addition to your gameplay. It also gives you the opportunity to swap at any time you're rested, so you can change them up depending on the dungeon and week. Here's my best essence advice. For the majors, in priority order, Well of Existence. This has a great role in those single target moments. As a Holy Priest's Mastery will inevitably cause some overhealing, you should be able to pop Well pretty often, if not on cooldown, which is 15 seconds. Lifebinder's Invocation works amazingly in AoE heavy weeks and dungeons. It's mana free and affected by haste buffs. The cooldown is 2 minutes. If not all the seeds are used up, they will reduce the cooldown of this essence by a little bit. Crucible of Flame is a fun damage addition, and also a nice heal once you stack it twice on the same target. Use this essence twice on a boss pull to shoot up the meter and temporarily pretend you're the best DPS in the group. Yay! For the minors, it mostly goes in this order of priority: Ever-Rising Tide, Well of Existence, Vision of Perfection, Memory of Lucid Dreams. Now, of course this also depends on what you're more comfortable with and what kind of passive you prefer. Passive healing is always amazing, however, Lifebinder's Minor doesn't seem to provide much value when you put it beside the other essences stated previously. Here's some additional advice for your gear. Always have 1 gem with Intellect. For the other sockets and enchants, try to prioritize Haste, Versatility, and Critical Strike. Find out what you're missing out on and gem that to complement your secondaries. Now when we have a solid foundation of gear, stats, talents, and essences, it's time to work your way towards your goal. I hope you found some useful advice to take with you into the dungeons. If you're looking for an Affix guide, it's written down onto the Google document, linked down below. I've shared tips and tricks for every week. Feel free to check them out and apply them to your own gameplay to find out what works best for you. That's a wrap, guys! In the description are all the relevant links for this video. You can find me on social media or in my amazing stream community on Twitch and Discord. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for new keys every week. Thank you for watching.